Hi, I'm Vivian Holland.
And I'm Jayden Siavichay.
Today we're honored to be interviewing Mr. Michael Nathanson, who is an actor who lives here in Greenburgh. Welcome, Mr. Nathanson.
Thank you for having me. And please call me Michael because Mr. Nathanson is
All right.
way too formal for us.
Okay.
We'd like to start at the beginning
Yeah.
of your story. What made you want to pursue acting professionally?
Oh, gosh. Well, I started acting when I was a kid, just in school plays and stuff like that, and got bitten by the bug pretty early. And I don't think I did it professionally as a kid for a couple of years, but it kind of got in the way of sports and being a regular sort of child, so I didn't feel like doing it anymore. It was too kind of crazy. But I kept doing it in school, and then I went to college and did it some more. And I don't know if I ever thought I would do it professionally. It just kind of kept rolling in that way. Like I didn't find anything else as interesting or exciting or fulfilling, and kind of just found it again in college, like I said, and did a lot of plays and joined the theater program, and yeah, came out of school and never stopped. I think the key is just don't quit. If you don't quit, then you're an actor.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge you ever faced early on into your career?
Biggest challenge I've ever faced early in my career. I guess surviving in New York City on trying to make money while I'm not getting paid as an actor.
Mm.
So that was fun for a while. You had to find the key is to find there were the three tenets that they talked to you about in theater school, which is like you have to have three things going, and if any two out of the three are not going well, you have to reevaluate what you're doing as an actor. So it's like relationship, living conditions, and day job to survive. And so I was always trying to balance those three. Usually I had two out of those three. I was usually pretty good. But those were, lean times. You had to I was a gymboree teacher. I was a waiter. I was a bartender. I did lots and lots of different jobs. But it was also exciting to be young and in New York and having fun.
Yeah,
But the challenges never end. The career of an actor literally just goes up and down and up and down. As soon as you're up, inevitably you're going to be down again. So it's one of those careers where you just never stop being challenged and being faced with the fact that you're going to be unemployed.
Yeah.
But if you love it, you do it, because when you get to work, it's awesome.
It's very motivational. Has there ever been a time where you felt like you've made it, whether it was a character or role that you've played?
Made it? You mean like
Like you feel like
I did? Like here I am. I've arrived in the
Yes.
maybe right now. I mean, I would say my first really visible job was I was the lead in a short film that got nominated for an Oscar, and I got to go to the Oscars, and I got to be part of that whole kind of machine for a little bit, and that was really fun. I think the moment I was standing on the red carpet and this media team from China were all of a sudden stuck a microphone in my face, and they were like, "We're from Chinese media, in front of 1.4 billion people," and they just stuck a microphone in my face. I was just like, "Hello, China!" It's sort of, you don't realize how far-reaching it can be instantaneously. I mean, when I became part of the Marvel universe and got cast in The Punisher, I mean, that whole experience continues to be a weird, strange thing, because overnight you are part of something that's way bigger than yourself. And so I still get stopped on the street. I get stopped every other day for that. So it's I don't know. Sometimes just when you think you are irrelevant, then somebody stops you and says, recognizes you from something. You're like, oh, right, I did that. Get reminded of it. But, again, it's peaks and valleys. There are times when you feel like you've made it. And then there are times when you're like, oh, maybe did I unmake it? Because I'm not working, because I'm not being recognized every day. It's tough. It's a tough thing to have to deal with.
All right.
Yeah. Speaking of The Punisher, actually,
Sure.
it is one of your I'd say most well-known television roles. And you played Sam Stein. What originally drew you to that character?
I mean, I'm a huge geek film nerd from back when I was a kid. When I was in high school, I was the editor of our film magazine, was like film critiques and interviews and things like that. And then in college, even on the side, because I've always been a writer as well, which I still do. And I was involved in the arts magazine at Northwestern, interviewing celebrities, writing film commentary, stuff like that. So it wasn't I was drawn to it. I got an audition for it, and I was very lucky to get an audition for it. And I remember getting the audition and everyone telling me, well, this is it wasn't called The Punisher. I think it was called Crime, because they were being very secretive about this character and introducing this character and having a show about it. And so once I realized what it was, and kind of like everyone was like, this is actually The Punisher, blah, 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 I was like, holy shit, like that's amazing. Like of course I want to be a part of that. And so, yeah, it was like a dream come true to be in something that, like, as a kid, I would like play with the action figures and read the comics, and so yeah, that was awesome.
So you've been a Marvel fan from a young age.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Marvel specifically.
Yeah.
I have, no offense to Marvel, I haven't always been a big Batman guy. Batman comics were my thing when I was a kid, but I like the Marvel stuff too, and just that whole kind of thing was always like very cool and exciting to me. So yeah, it was like a geek dream to like actually be a part of it. Like when we were on set, not filming, like I would just go and like walk into like Frank's workshop or like Frank's place where like the battle van was just sitting, and I'd just be like staring and taking pictures and just being like, holy crap, I cannot believe that like this is what I do.
Did you take anything from set?
I thought about it. I definitely thought about taking things from the set. Let me think if I actually did. I mean, I took a lot of pictures, a lot of fun pictures. I don't think I did. I think I was. It is such a scary thing to be a part of that, because like it's so locked down. There's so much security. There's so much. We had to do so much media training about what to say, what not to say. Be very secretive about all that kind of stuff. And so they kind of instill the fear of God in you, like don't fuck this up, like don't say the wrong thing, don't take anything. But yeah, no. I took a lot of memories, but I should have. Like looking back, I'm like, oh, I could have easily taken that or that.
Yeah.
Nobody would have noticed. Next time, I did on other jobs.
Mm. You also did work for Tom and Jerry, right?
I did an episode of Tom. How did you find that?
I did research on you.
Was that the one where I played Rumpelstiltskin?
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, actors do a million different things, right? We do commercials, we do voiceovers. I mean, I made a whole career out of doing commercials for years while I was doing a lot of theater in New York. And sometimes you get the chance to audition for animation. I love animation. I love when I get to do voice work. It's so hard to get a job in that industry because it's such a tightly the industry is it's such a small pool of people that they use like over and over and over again. So to break into that is really hard. But when you do get the chance, it's so much fun. And so yeah, it was just an audition. They sent me to play Rumpelstiltskin in a Tom and Jerry cartoon, and I got it, and I went in, and I remember doing it to the animatics. I think that's what they call it, where it's like not quite fully animated, but it's like the sketch and like sort of almost like stop motion looking that they do to the drawings. And so that's what I sort of voice match to the story and the drawings. And yeah, and it's just like a different set of skills, right? You're like kind of creating something from your imagination, but also using the animation. But like I picked a voice, they thought that voice was funny, and then I just did it and I left. And I guess it lives on in perpetuity. Did you find it somewhere? Because I can't even find it.
Yes, I did find it.
Oh my God. I need that link.
All right, I'll try
All
to
right.
send you it after.
Yeah. All right.
Would you compare, how do they differ from being on the big screen to voice acting?
Well, voice acting, you can go in, you can be in your pajamas. You know, you can roll in and just be exhausted and look like shit and not care. Like, it's definitely more of, I would say, an actor's medium in that, you have more control over your performance because it's like you're trying to capture something that's from your voice. But a job is a job, and you kind of bring the same set of skills and the same kind of ethic to whatever you're doing. But the voice work is fun because it's like, yeah, I don't have to like present, the way like, because as an actor, you always feel like you're being watched, and you're always, you have to like look a certain way and act a certain way. But voiceover work is just like a little bit cool, a little bit more laid back. But so fun. I've done a ton of dubbing. That's like a new thing in voiceover work. So for Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon, a lot of these places, I've done a lot of like TV shows, and it's like they buy all this content from all over the world, and then they bring it to the U.S. and then they need a whole team of actors to dub it into English because most people in our country are too stupid to read, or don't want to read, right, subtitles. So they need, and so it's fine. Gives us more work, which is great, but and that's a weird challenge because you're like watching somebody else's performance and then sort of trying to match that with your voice, but also bring your own sensibility to it. So that's weird.
Should we expect you to be in any video games in the future?
Oh man, I have auditioned for so many video games, and I don't think I've ever actually been cast in a video game, and it's like my dream. So if there are any video game designers out there who need this, yes, but they pop up sometimes. I have friends who've been in like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, stuff like that. And I know a good buddy of mine who also lives in the Greenburgh area. He does a lot of Call of Duty stuff. He's like big in that world. But yeah, that's a whole other thing. Once you get cast in video games too, you never stop working. It's a great little sideline, but it takes a lot, and then there's like motion capture. There's all that kind of stuff too. But yeah, I would love to do that. But that's like it's like the one thing I haven't done. Video games.
Hopefully someday.
I would like to.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Have you ever been rejected for a role? And if so, how did you handle it? And what advice would you give someone facing a similar setback?
I got rejected from 4 roles in the last 2 weeks. So literally, my job is getting rejected. I get a certain amount of auditions. So the way it works is basically once you're kind of an established actor and you have an agent or a manager representation, right? They field auditions for you. They send them to you. And these days you don't go in to meet cast directors most of the time. It's all self-taping since COVID. And they send you sides and a script, sometimes a script, sometimes not even a script, sometimes just the sides for like the scene that you're going to do. And they give you a description of the character and everything. And you go home, set up your little camera and your setup with your lights and everything. You do an audition with no feedback really at all, send it out into the ether, and you either hear something or you don't. If you don't hear something, that's a rejection. So, and in this business, we rarely get feedback. So you have to learn how to navigate that and know that it's not personal and that getting the job is not your job. You have to sort of reconfigure your mindset in that auditioning is your job. Making a good impression on casting directors who watch your tape, making a good impression on producers, directors, and all that for them to call you back. And the proof is, if you're doing a good job and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you get called back by the same casting director or the same director or the same producers over and over and over again. So I feel like I've managed to do that. And I think when you focus on that, you focus on the work and doing the work. And I think for me, it's like when you get to have an audition, you get to do your thing. Like you get to apply your craft and actually work. So some people are like, oh, auditions are so terrible, so annoying. Well, 1/2 of people actually book the job, and it's never about your talent. Almost never about your talent. It's about they wanted someone taller or smaller or different race or different ethnicity or different whatever. And it's like you can't get in the side of the heads of like a million different people who are making this decision because it goes through so many people. So the life is just like constant rejection, but you sort of have to reframe and say it's not rejection. It's
Redirection?
I like that. Did you say redirection?
Yeah, redirection.
Yeah. Well, and making sure you understand that like the work is the work, even if it's just you with your iPhone and a ring light in your house. What a cool opportunity to get to like keep working and keep honing your craft. So then when you do get the job, you're really ready for it and you're like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Looking back at your younger self, what do you think he would be happy of what you've accomplished today?
Yeah, I mean, I think ever since I was a kid, I always like wanted to be involved with like movies or like something in the world of movies. Because I remember as a very young kid going to the movies, buying the action figures. Like so I was a Star Wars kid, like very obsessed. like I was always, and I loved GI Joe, and I loved all those things. So I would go home as a little kid, and I would buy the action figures, and I would literally create these little like plays with my action figures and stories, and I could do that for hours and hours and hours. So like something in me was always wanting to be involved in this business. You know, you look at it and it looks very glamorous and amazing and fun, and then once you get into it, you realize it's a job like any other, and it's got its ups and its downs, and it's hard to stay focused when you are getting rejected all the time, and when you feel like you have to keep your sense of self worth up. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I had any expectations other than I was going to try it,
Mhm.
hopefully do some fun things. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm as prouder about my like what I've accomplished in my personal life. I have an amazing family. I have two kids who are awesome and healthy and fun and challenging. And you have to have a life fulfilling outside of that. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy. Although I have my days.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there a role that you've played that fans still bring up to this day?
Yeah, I get stopped for Sam Stein from Punisher all the time. Not I wouldn't say all the time, but like there was a time certainly when it was like very popular, and then it sort of has a resurgence every time they do like Spider-Man comes out, or like they do a little Punisher thing, or like the new Punisher show came out, or there's any sort of Marvel buzz. Inevitably, I get like some side eye somewhere, or someone's like, "Oh, are you the guy from the Punisher?" Or sometimes they know my name from the Punisher, or sometimes it's just the guy from the Punisher. Um, but yeah, it happened to me the other day. It's funny. And those things live on in perpetuity because like it's not like back in the day when you do a TV show, it would air, and then that was it, right? You watched it or you didn't watch it, and then it was on to the next thing. Now with streaming and everything, it's like these shows, like something I filmed 10 years ago, someone's watching it for the first time now and recognizes me, and I'm like, oh, why do you Oh, right, because like I'm on your streaming service. I like we like live inside these boxes, forever. Um, but it's funny, you never know. Like I recently did this show called Love Story, this JFK um, series, and that's been my latest. Oh, you're the guy from JF. You're the guy from Love Story. You're the guy from Love Story. And then like people will shout me out on social media and stuff like that, and make fun of me on social media in a fun, in a playful way. But yeah, it's cool. I've been able to be in some like kind of iconic things where I've gotten to like be recognized, but also like not have to deal with like being recognized also most of the time, which is also kind of a blessing. Some people really want fame and they chase it in this business, but it's actually kind of nice to be able to like work and be somewhat anonymous in your personal life. Um, but it's cool. Like when people recognize for stuff, always stop and chat with them, and then because I'm a fan. Like the first time I started going to Comic Cons and like signing autographs and doing that whole scene, the coolest part of that for me was getting to meet all of my heroes from when I was a kid who were there signing autographs, taking pictures. So like I spent most of my time away from my table, not making money because I just wanted to meet everybody, and I got a chance to take some really cool pictures and share some really good stories. So it's like a fan going to the other side and then coming out the other side, and like being able to be sort of part of both worlds has been always really exciting for me.
Yeah.
Is there any funny behind the scenes stories that you can share with us?
Funny behind the scenes stories. I mean, yes, but I don't know if any of it I could share with you. Um, I mean, you'd be surprised how much fun you can have behind the scenes on some of these big movies and TV shows and stuff. Like when I was on Broadway last year doing Good Night and Good Luck, um, you know, there were times when we'd be on stage waiting for lights or rehearsal, or we were in tech for hours on end, and I'd be sitting next to George Clooney, and we'd just be sort of shooting the shit, and he'd be doodling, and we'd be chatting, and I'd be like, "This is insane! Like, how am I just here, like, with this guy and in this space?" And so, like, I think for me, it's like behind the scenes, I'm always sort of pinching myself and trying to appreciate where I am and what I'm doing. Um, there have been some crazy stories. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything specifically that I would want to share. That's not totally embarrassing, but yeah, yeah, you have to be careful. You can't spill any of the celebrity secrets.
Yes.
So
Is there a character, fiction or nonfiction, that you would like to play that you haven't yet?
Character non. That's a good question. Wow. Character in fiction or nonfiction I'd like to play. Um, I'd like to play more villains. I'd like to play more bad guys. Like I really have. It's funny. Earlier on in my theater career, that was like all I played were like unhinged kind of villainous characters. I did a lot of Shakespeare. I always was playing Shakespeare, like comedians or villains and stuff like that, comedic villains. But yeah, is there somebody specific? I mean, I would love to be in a Batman movie. Like that would be cool. You know,
Yes.
like there are things I would like to do that would just be cool. Like in my like dreams, I get to play someone like the Joker, which I could never do because I would never be as good as Heath Ledger. So it doesn't even matter. But like to get to play a role like that, where you get to the sort of like be have total anarchy, within the role, and then be able to put it away and but like have that kind of fun on set. I've gotten the chance to do that a couple times, but I'd like to do more of that. It's fun. I'm often playing a lot of buttoned up,
Mhm.
anxious people, and I don't know why. Maybe that's just who I am, and people can't stop seeing me that way. But no, I'd love to play some like. I have to think about it. I have to think about it. I'm sure there are like famous bad guys that I would like to play, but I have to think about it. But definitely a comic book villain would be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Has there been a movie that you've turned down?
Gosh, there have been times when I've turned down auditions. Not a lot. Um, there have been roles where I've been, I felt like it was like not a character I wanted to inhabit. Whether it was like a person who, well, a bad guy, but like not a bad guy in any way that would be fun to play.
Mhm.
And sometimes you just have to like balance what's good for your mental health going in, knowing like sometimes you get sent an audition and it's like that this job is going to be difficult, but not for any good reasons. But most of the time, work is work, and you try to say yes most of the time. There's a lot of power in saying no, though. I think as you get along in your career and you do more and more things, most of the stuff you get sent to do is fairly interesting most of the time. So you don't get stuck with that. There are things I've done that I wish I had said no, but I won't tell you about those.
Oh, all right.
I won't tell tales out of school like that. But work. I was taught that from a very early age. It's like work is work, and it's good to work. Even it's good to work sometimes on bad things. You learn a lot about yourself as an actor and as a person.
Yeah. How has your experience been since moving here to Greenburgh?
It's awesome. I love it here. We explored moving to the river towns years and years ago when we lived in Brooklyn. We ended up making a move to LA instead, and then I came to work on Broadway last year, and then booked this other job, this Ryan Murphy series, Love Story, and also shot in New York. And that, in combination with all the fires and all the craziness that was going on in LA, we felt like we wanted to come back and be closer to family and home and stuff. And since moving here, it's been great. It's like true small town living, which I've never really done growing up in New York City and then going to school in Chicago and then coming back to New York, and then living in LA. This is like my first kind of suburban experience, but I love it. It's an amazing community of artists and really interesting people, and yeah, I've been welcomed with open arms by everybody, and yeah, the school is great. I just love the whole kind of vibe up here.
Yeah. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about making Greenburgh their home?
I hope you have a lot of money. Just kidding. No, it's very. Listen, we got into when we bought our house here. It was like crazy competition to like, a lot of people. It's a very desirable area. I think that the proximity to the city is awesome. My wife's a special ed teacher, so she commutes every day, gets to work with all of her friends and cohorts at her school, and then come back and have kind of an easier life. I think if it's not for you to be in the city and want to be in the middle of all that kind of craziness, you get the best of both worlds. Because if you want to dip into the craziness, you can. But yeah, I mean, there's so many so many villages. I'm learning towns, villages. There's different, I call everything a town, and then people are like, "That's a village." No, that's a town. No, that's a thing. Okay, so, but like all the different places you can visit. Like I live in Hastings, so I can go to Irvington, I can go to Dobbs, I can go to Tarrytown, I can go to all these different places, and there's something for me to do on any given weekend or any given night, and lots of choices. But having a community of people that you can rely on, and also there's lots of cultural things to do up here. It's a yeah, I would recommend it. I like it.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
What's next for you? Are there any upcoming projects?
What's next for me? Um, the life of an actor is, like I told you guys, like
Mhm.
it's just you never really know what's around the corner. I wish I could say I always have a job. People are always like, "Oh, so what's next?" Like people assume that you're always working, especially when they like see you on TV,
Yes.
and that's such a hard question to answer sometimes because you're like, I want to say I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but a lot of times you're not. Um, I'm auditioning. I do a lot of writing and producing. Um, I have a TV show that I'm writing with a friend of mine that we're trying to pitch around. Um, in our community in Hastings, I started a group called the Big Screen Social Club, and you can check us out on Instagram. And we're a bunch of like-minded moms and dads who love the movies and like go to the movies. A lot of us are filmmakers, and we started this kind of show in combination with the Jacob Burns to kind of encourage people to go back to the movie theater, and because that's what we love to do, and it's important to have like that community experience. So in Hastings, we're hoping to start having some pop-up screenings and maybe build some of that infrastructure out so we can have maybe a space at some point for people to go see some flicks and do something cool like that. But I think, yeah, for me, it's now that I'm here and I live here, and this is like where I'm raising my kids through middle school and high school. It's important for me to like give back to the community and do something that is for the community and for my family that we can have in our backyard. So we're hoping to develop some more of that fun stuff. But yeah, it's just living and being a dad. Being a dad to 12-year-old twin girls is 75% of my life, whether I like it or not. So
Well, Mr. Nathanson, thank you for coming out here and speaking with us today. It was a pleasure to have you. And once again, welcome to Greenburgh.
thank you. It's good to be here anytime.